Okay, so this is kind of a basic intro to ZBrush, and what I want you to do is just kind of get you started with putting something in your scene so you can edit it and then save it out as something. Mostly what we're going to be using is in this tool menu. This is probably one of the most important menus in the software. This is where we begin with our objects. Our base objects, if we hit tool, I should get a menu. Here are our basic objects that this software offers, and there's a lot of things I haven't even touched yet, and I'm not scared of it anymore, but I used to be, but not anymore. So let's go ahead and start with a cylinder 3D. So that's the tool I have. So I click and drag with my left mouse button. Now that I have my object in here, if I keep going, it's actually just going to create more spheres, and I'm not going to be able to edit this. It's just creating stuff. So I'm going to hit Control New or Control N to clear out the canvas. Put that sphere in here, and what I got to do is hit T, which activates the edit. Hit T, which is this button here, and now you'll see this gray box in the viewport. That means that you are now in 3D edit mode. Left mouse button by itself will rotate. Left mouse button on the object will try to sculpt, but we got to change it to a poly mesh, which we'll do in a second. Alt and right mouse button will move it. Alt and middle mouse, Control and middle mouse, right mouse button. Control and right mouse button will zoom. There are other tools in here I don't really use. Everyone I talk to who uses the software barely uses most of these tools on this side, but we use a lot of things on this side and a lot of menus up here. But so I got this going, and right now I have only 1,000 polys or 1,000 points on here. So I want to change it first to make poly mesh 3D, which is important because that opens up a whole bunch of tools that we're going to need. So geometry is where we can subdivide it. So I hit subdivide, and it's going to be a soft subdivide because that's kind of what's happening here. I think that's subdivide smooth modifier. What I can do is undo by clicking on this one little box. I'm going to turn that off, hit subdivide or divide it, and now I've doubled the points. That's 5 times 5. Just keep subdividing each time. I can show wireframe. You can see how much is going in here. I'll hit divide again. All right, so now I've got 1.0, basically a million polys. And now I can actually start sculpting. The brushes are right here. Click on this. You can also hit B anywhere, and it'll pop up this menu. All these brushes can have their own keystroke, like Max has W, E, and R for move, scale, and rotate, or rotate and scale actually. W, E, R, yeah. Same kind of concept. All these different things have different assets and different aspects to them. Most of the things that I use, clay buildup, dim standard, which is somewhere around here. This one right here. Those are the things that I use often. There's a couple other tools. We'll go into zModeler here when we get started on the gun. But for the most part, just kind of start playing around with stuff. So I start making some strokes. I hold Alt, I get the invert of the stroke. I hold Shift, and I'll get a smoothing of the actual stroke. So have some fun with that. The more marks I make, the more actions I do to my object, I'm going to get this bar, it will increase every single time, which means it's kind of like a history. I can come back down here, down a couple steps, and see, like before I make those silly strokes. And we're getting close. There's one, there's two. That was a smoothing. Great, boom. So here's another thing. If I hit X, I'm going to have an actual X symmetry on here. It's like a mirroring tool. So I can actually work on one side. And I'll make things a little bit easier. In the actual not tool transform, active symmetry, there's other symmetries we can do. We can do Y and X together. Go back into transform, and then we can even do a radial, which will give us a whole bunch of fun stuff. It does slow down and get a little intensive, but you can make some really cool patterns really quick. So that's the basic intro to ZBrush. Try that out. Oh yeah, one more thing. If I want to save this, I want to save this as a tool. So I'm going to go into the tool menu and go to save as, and then I'm going to call it something special, like Collins cylinder. That's gross. I'll call it toy. All right, and it saves as a ZTL file. Hit save. Cool. If I want to bring that back up, let's go ahead and do a new document in document. I hit new, clears it all out. Don't want to save it yet. I haven't really figured out the point of ZBrush documents, so I don't really save them. I always save them as tools when I load the tools. So I can load up the tool. That's what I just made. Here's one I made earlier of the gun in process. It's now in the tool menu. I click and drag with the right key, hit T to go to edit, and then I'm in my tool. Shift will lock your cameras into the orthogonal left, right, top views just based on where you're moving your mouse when you're rotating off the model. All right, that's basically intro to ZBrush.